Mr. Anderson, what a fine day we're having. Hello, guys. I'm Sam. I'm going to be talking to you guys about The Matrix with friend Ash here. There's some films you mention by name, and everyone instantly recognizes them. Star Wars, Jaws, Wizard of Oz. One of these films, The Matrix, shocked audiences when it was released. Not only in its subject matter, which we'll get into later, but also in its effects and directorial techniques. This film is something extraordinary with special effects, and they stand up to films even today, and the theme does even more so. Released in 1999, the film stars a young Keanu Reeves living a boring everyday life until is thrown upside down when he meets some people who tell him his world is a computer simulation and that his real body, along with the most of the rest of the world's, is stuck in egg-like pods that feed artificially intelligent machines with power. This occurs about 200 years later after 1999, which is when the film was released, after the singularity creates a war with mankind, resulting in the sun being blocked out. Reeves' character, Neo, must go back into the Matrix and learn how to manipulate it and break its rules of reality to save his friend and mentor, Morpheus, named after the Greek god of dreaming, of course.
The Matrix is considered a revolutionary science fiction film due to its incorporation of visual effects led by the directors. The film not only had the effect of making audiences question their reality, but it also executes one of the most significant special effects scenes in cinema history, the iconic bullet dodging scene. The slow motion effect of the scene was nothing special since cinema had been utilizing this technique for years before, but what happens next is the real masterpiece. The viewer's perspective, which is behind Neo as the first bullet sails toward him, begins to shift. In fact, it rotates. While Neo starts to turn his shoulder away from the bullet's trajectory, the camera travels around him, watching the flight of the bullet from every angle. His coat billowing beneath him, Neo's body folds back like the bones have left his body, the bullets missing his head and skimming his clothes. All the while we circle him, as the bullets seem to be flying above us. The special effects designers installed 120 cameras to take a series of photographs in quick succession on the set of The Matrix. Their inspiration for this scene came from Edward Muybridge in the 19th century, who photographed galloping horses with a series of still cameras placed next to one another, thus conveying the visual illusion of movement by altering the viewer's perspective on a moving subject. For the Matrix scene, the special effects directors set cameras to fire a fraction of a second after one another, creating super slow motion. A 3D simulation was used to position the cameras and trigger their exposures. Since the cameras circle the subject almost completely, computer technology was used to edit out the cameras that appeared in the shot.
This whole film, and especially the Matrix itself, is often shown with a green tint or hue to it. Colors often have meaning in film, especially when they're shown a multitude of times and it's explicit that the director wants a message to be conveyed by this. Green has the strongest meaning of envy, which fits perfectly with the theme of this film. Everyone wants something that they don't have. Everyone wants something to be interesting and intense and uproot their boring everyday lives. And the Matrix perfectly encapsulates this. Everyone wishes to be Neo, and the Matrix creates this idea and runs with it. In the film as well, every character envies something that they don't have. I already explained Neo's, but Morpheus wants to discover the chosen one to save humanity. Trinity wants to find love. Agent Smith wants to get out of the Matrix. Cypher wants to go back to an ignorant, blissful life. Even Neo spying Mouse's creation of the woman in the red dress is a sign of envy created by the Matrix. All of these envies stem from the Matrix, which is why all the code is shown clearly being in green.
Music and sound effects in film are crucial because it engages the audience. Sounds and dialogue must perfectly sync with the actions in film without delay. If a sound doesn't quite match the action on screen, the action itself becomes unbelievable. Sound effects definitely dominate the soundtrack for The Matrix. An important sound effect is that of the phones. The ringing of the phones is always louder than the music, breaking the silence or causing it. This startles the audience because it's such a recognizable sound and it's made so sinister. Music in The Matrix can sometimes be deceiving to the audience. For example, when Neo jumps off the roof of a building in the Matrix simulation, the climax of the music leads the audience to believe that he will make the jump. The audience is then surprised when he falls. This mislead of sound creates suspense for the audience to question future scenes. This implies that not everything is as it seems.
The influence this film had on audiences everywhere is astronomical. More people have made parodies or references to The Matrix than they have of Bane's voice from The Dark Knight Rises. The span of influence this film had is almost unmatched, from video games like Conker's Bad Fur Day to other films such as Scary Movie. The film is a piece of pop culture in every sense of the phrase. This is more than just a film, it was a game changer.